today I just want you to know about 5 things. And that is what we call relax. So are you relaxed? So don't worry if I'm not worried. That's why I'm saying we start by relaxing. So when you talk about relax, if you know relax, then you know business. Okay? From a finance point of view. So here is how it goes. So in any business, you'll always have these 5 things. We start with revenue. Then you go to equity or capital. Then you go to liabilities. Then assets. And finally, you'll have expenses. So irrespective of your background, as a founder, you need to understand these 5 items. When you are creating value in a business, what most founders can easily forget, for your business to really grow and create a bigger impact, you need to be creating value for your stakeholders while also retaining value. For any business, when it starts, whether you've made money or you've not even contacted the first customer, you are likely to have what you call assets, right? So like if I have a laptop, I'm still trying to figure out things. So that will be assets. So assets, basically what they mean, if you've ever heard of the word value, so they're valuable. They're things that can be used to create value. Like, you know how much value you can create with a laptop, right? A camera, like now that is an asset for the company. But for you to get a computer, what will you need? Money, right? So that money, you can get it from 2 sources. You can either put capital from founders or other shareholders, right? Or you can get financing from, let's say, a financial institution. So when any business starts, even before you make money, you'll always have assets and how they are funded. So you really need to understand the building block of businesses. So when you talk about these 2, they're actually obligations. The money that you've used to buy that asset, it doesn't belong to you as Mr. Alex or Mr. Robert, because Robert is not the business. So it's very, very important that you learn early on to separate the individual from the business. When you buy that laptop of 100K here with your own money, you've actually invested in the business. So whatever you're doing with that business should be able to generate more than what you put it in. What you've put in to buy the asset. So it's very, very important to know that this is an obligation. So whenever you hear that people say that you have a balance sheet, it's basically, in a layperson's language, assets and how they are funded. So when it comes to customers, there are only 2 things in a business. There are only 2 activities in a business. So these activities can be revenue generating or what we call value sacrificing. So revenue generating simply means that you've created for customers and they're paying for it. But also for you to create value, you need to sacrifice some, like probably pay for internet bills and stuff like that. So you'll always have to sacrifice some value to create value. People usually think that revenue is money, but it is not necessarily money. The reason why revenue is not necessarily money is that in some cases, you create value first, then you wait to get paid. Currently, as we speak, mostly the Kenyan economy is receivables driven. So receivables simply means that you've worked and you are waiting to get paid. When you look at what we are sacrificing in the name of expenses, for you to create a sustainable and a viable business in the long run, you should charge such that in the long run, the revenues will exceed expenses. You get it, and then you remain with something. So out that is known as profit. So profit helps in one way, first sustaining your business on a day-to-day running. Then in the long run, you can retain part of the profit. So when you retain part of the profit, it comes here. So let's say you start with a capital of 1M, right? Then 5 years down the line, you are at 10M. You see, this business is growing and becoming bigger. So it is what is known as a fortress balance sheet. So what that means that as you grow what you are retaining from the profits, you are buying what is known as staying power. That is the language of the business. In the long run, it is not these vibes that you hear, fintech, things are AI. Always look at ways to ensure that when you create profits, you are retaining a percentage of it. So that will mean that, let's say this year you want to try something new. I know you have some SMEs in the room. So you are trying something on LinkedIn, right? Or Facebook or Twitter. You can even decide that out of this 10M, let me try out something with 200K. That is what is called innovation. You get it? You are trying out something. It can work, it might not work. But if you have 10M, to be honest, 200, I'm not saying that you are wasting it, but if it doesn't work, it won't matter that much. But believe you me, there are some very popular products that were created with that mentality. People had money, they tried something small with just a percentage of retained earning, and it became big. It became even bigger than other products. So you can start and find you have bad customers, but over time, you should make the painful decision of firing them. Yeah. Because you can see if you've used your resources and deployed a lot of them and you're waiting to be paid, and the truth is that you'll never get all the outstanding payments. But now if you can find a predictable way of ensuring that maybe if payments come after 1 month or 3 months, it is predictable, it really helps you now to build a business. So for example, when you go to any hospital with a card, usually you are treated for free, then the hospital hopes that they'll get their money back. What if the insurance firm collapses like Resolution? They'll never get that money back. So that is usually something that we need to be aware and try to do a revenue mix in terms of can you get prepaid, or some of them you can even negotiate. When it comes to demand pipeline generation, you need to figure out a way so that you have a predictable way of getting customers. And there are different revenue models. So when I started, I was really passionate about direct to consumer. Let me tell you, that is also a very difficult space. So what happened is that the way the business grew, that direct to consumer model gave birth to business model. Yeah. And we learned that the direct consumer space, as much as it is hard, it has this element of omnipresence. So you always seen somewhere. Even if someone doesn't like you, one day they might wake up and forget that they don't like you. Then they share the poster like that, then it grows. So it's very, very important that you learn to have different revenue models and target different clients so that in a way you have what we call first, before you even know where you are going, is cash flow, right? Once it is around, at least you can have even time to figure out things. So from a demand pipeline point of view, number one thing that is not emphasized is how you do the current work can give birth to more work. So that is part of business development. If you are given work, go an extra mile, right? Yeah. Then once you figured out that you can get 10 customers, how can you get 12 customers? So those are the things that you should be thinking to now create a pipeline that is predictable. So it's that predictability that will matter in the long run. It doesn't matter if today you can get a deal of 10M, then you don't know when you are going to get the next one, right? Try to find ways whereby you can create a relationship. So instead of thinking of always how to get 2M, I would rather find a way to get 200K per month. Before you know it, will become part of the what they call OPEX budget. They'll be budgeting for you. So they'll just say, Ari Limited is part of the budget for next year. Before you know it, you've done 200K per month for 5 years. So that is what, if you look at this business that you admire in the US, they're very big on that. They like recurring revenue. Try to be on the OPEX of people rather than CAPEX. CAPEX is one of, but OPEX, you might not see it, but that predictability will ensure that you sort of have control on how you get paid, and you have predictability. You can know that on a monthly basis, I expect X amount of money.